Travelers. I'm Josh.
And I'm Kahi.
And we're the Genshin Guys. Welcome all. This podcast is for fans of Genshin Impact, the mobile game made by Hoyoverse, also known as miHoYo. Here we talk about our opinions, experiences, and dreams about Genshin Impact. If you like our show, don't forget to subscribe on Apple Music, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to the podcast. So before we get started, Kahi, how are you doing today?
I'm kind of depressed. I saw the One Piece live action trailer and I don't know what to think anymore. How are you?
God, okay, you know what? like live action adaptations of anime. It's just not a thing that will ever.
Why? Why do they keep doing this, Josh? Why?
They should just stop. They really should just stop. Because I always like to think that that the different versions of the same media and the book of something and the movie of something and the anime of something, it's all meant to reach out to different audiences, to get them to be interested in the story so that they can experience the other kinds of media. But I don't know anybody that watches the anime that would want to watch this live action, or vice versa. I just don't know anyone in my personal sphere of people I know that are excited about things like this. It's so weird because it never does well. It's always
never a
poorly
successful
received.
one.
I mean, freaking Cowboy Bebop that they just tried to do also got totally burned. It's crazy. It's so crazy to me.
So yeah, that's how I'm doing. How are you?
Well, I mean, I'm doing all right. I'm okay. So yeah, I'm excited. I was doing a podcast earlier just before this, actually, on the Coffee and Culture podcast. So that was fun. It was a pretty good day today so far. It is actually Father's Day as we're recording this. So happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. We appreciate you. And yeah, so I'm pretty good. So let's dive into today's topics then. We start with our weeks in Genshin as always. And then we're going to talk about some Genshin news, as well as return to the Divine Ingenuity discussion now that we've had some more time to play it, and just kind of thinking about the different ways that you can be creative in Genshin. We're going to talk about creative expression in Genshin and Divine Ingenuity, and talk about how it compares to other games that we've played that have similar mechanics and similar ideas for creating things within a video game. Then we're going to talk about the community discussion question, as well as do our last wish segment. So it should be a fun one today, and I hope you guys enjoy. Before we dive into the first topic, which is our weeks in Genshin, I want to talk about the Discord real quick. If you haven't already joined the Discord, please come join us. We have a lot of different fun stuff to do there. We have a lot of different discussion places to go. We have sharing Divine Ingenuity for the duration of the event, as well as weekly camera contests for Genshin and camera contests for Honkai Star Rail as well. And you can get notified when we go live on Twitch. And yeah, it's a pretty great community if you want to join, if you haven't already, if you've thought about it, if you just want some people to talk to Genshin about, feel free to come hang out with us. It is there. It is free to join and open. So if you're interested, come on by. Okay, so with that being said, let's get started with our first topic, our weeks in Genshin. Okay, Kahi, so how has your week in Genshin Impact been?
Yeah, mostly focused on the domains. I spent a good couple hours in one day to build one level and just submit it to the website, which I really do like. I do like the interface of the website. It may be a little cosmetic changes here and there, but overall the format is great. It was a little tricky to submit it at first because I wasn't too sure why it wasn't showing up. Like in the game it said publish, but on the website it didn't, so maybe it just took a little while, so which is understandable. It's still taking some time to register in the system. But other than the domains, just rounding out my teams, just farming some Hydro artifacts, getting ready for the new Hydro characters, especially the Archon, of course, doing a lot of Fontaine prep. I think we're about 2 weeks away, maybe a little bit more, because we're still on the current banners.
Well,
Alhaitham and Kazuha still here.
So we're probably, according to patterns, we'll probably get the live stream this week, this Friday. And then it will most likely introduce 3.8, which will, what I'm assuming is going to be a summer event and a summer like sort of Golden Apple Archipelago style temporary area. And we're gonna have the swimming mechanic introduced. Remember, I think I mentioned this before. I think they're gonna teach
in the
us,
previous live stream.
Yeah, I think they're gonna teach us how to swim, and then we're gonna go to Fontaine, and we're probably gonna use that mechanic somehow. Like, I don't think that the preview at the end of the live stream was Fontaine yet. I think that was just previewing that we will use swimming soon. So
Underwater swimming.
I don't think we're going to Fontaine yet. That's just probably going to be another patch or two. But
it just feels so soon. Like, it feels so close.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely close. I mean, we've just been sitting here doing not much for a little bit now. It's funny. Earlier in the other podcast, we were talking about like the fact that we just have so much downtime right now. Like, Sumeru finished the story, and now we have nothing that's story driving us right now. We're just waiting. We don't have like a cliffhanger ending. We don't have any of that. We just know we're supposed to go to the next place. So yeah, well, hopefully we do soon. But yeah. Okay, so
yeah, so that's pretty much my week. Your week, how's yours? How's the streams going?
Oh, so the streaming has been great. For those of you that have been following me, I did debut my VTuber avatar live 2D like character model thing. So it's been really great. Super fun. And it's just a nice way to like keep my streams active and interactive in some way without me having to like bring out my camera and stuff like that. So, which I don't have a problem with doing, but I just haven't done it for a while, and it's much easier and much more fun to use my my avatar. So if you want to come by and see it, come check it out. In those streams, I have been exclusively playing Divine Ingenuity for the past 3 streams now, I believe, and just playing it, making my domains, and learning a lot about how the mechanics work, how things interact with each other, playing other people's domains and learning how clever people are with some of the mechanics. It's really, really cool to see what people come up with. And we're going to talk about that probably in a little bit, but I really, really hope this event stays. It's just been so much. And I know we were talking about last week, like what a shame it is that this is going to be temporary and that it's going to be going away, and it's true. But despite that, I'm going to spend all the time I can on it and learn as much as I can about it and advocate for it so that it does hopefully come back. I want to be like right there at the front, because I really think this is one of the coolest parts about Genshin, because like it's really unlimited content, right? And every time we get a new character, it'll be just more fun for Divine Ingenuity. So we'll talk more about that as we hit our main topic in the podcast today. But that's what I've been doing, just playing Divine Ingenuity. I totally forgot and have not really been doing dailies and stuff like that either. I have missed Primogems. It is very sad. I have missed Resin, but I've been really inspired to do Divine Ingenuity. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. Okay, so let's move on to Genshin news. Okay, in Genshin news, we've had a birthday, which is Venti's birthday on June 15th. Pretty cool. Beautiful art on the Twitter if you go check it out. The new banner started with Alhaitham and Kazuha, and Xiangling, Yao Yao, and Heizo as the 4 stars. And my wife was able to get Freedom Sworn, and which is Kazuha's weapon, and Xiao's weapon, and is trying to get now Alhaitham's weapon. So Kahi, have you like tried going for any of these characters?
I was contemplating rolling a few times for Alhaitham just to build pity, and if I get Alhaitham, hey, it's still good, but like I have like 62 wishes right now, and I don't think I want to spend them right away, because honestly all of my characters right now, I'm just trying to like, I'm still bringing Yalan up. I have like only a few more of her talent things to farm, and then she's like triple crowned.
Wow, nice.
So I'm really trying to bring up like my existing Hydra characters. Mona, I think, is already triple crowned. Yalan, of course, is going to be really good. Kokomi is just a healer for me on my team, so I'm not going to really build her that much, but just making sure that I have, you know, all of the characters that are already meta or already really, really good. I don't really go after like meta team builds, but I just want like the characters that I have to actually just be the best that they are.
Right.
Like the best character I have overall or for everything is like Raiden Shogun. Because triple crown, I have her weapon, have like perfect artifact. She's like 300 ER and like a really good crit rate stat. So yeah, I just want to make sure all of the characters that I constantly use or will always be powerful, I have like a really good team. The team that I've been really using lately, and I've used this for like the last 2 weeks, is like Layla, Baiju, Yalan, and Kaching. I finally got Kaching past like 2000 like attack. Her crit's getting up there, but I wanted to like just hit a little harder. But the domain that I've been farming is actually progressively getting a little bit easier, a little bit quicker. I can tell by the seconds like it's taking me.
Right.
So I know the team is actually getting really, really good. So
All right, so you're building your Hydro characters. That's nice. I actually ended up rolling for Hazo a little bit. I got one constellation, which is cool, but I'm pretty sure that puts me at the C3 Hazo, and I don't know. I love Hazo's playstyle. I have him at level 90. I have his talents leveled up. I want to use him. I have Wanderer too, which is cool, but I just love Hazo's playstyle of like the one punch. You know, it's so cool. So I'm hoping to be able to maybe get more of those before it ends, but I'm also just like trying to save some pulls for whatever the next banner is, like in case they announce like another new 4-star or another or a 5-star maybe like on this last banner. I feel like they won't, but who knows? They could just come up with like something, or maybe they'll just like put Charlotte from the event, you know, like to prepare us for Fontaine almost. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm just kind of like these are really good banners. I'm not gonna lie. Like I'll hide them in Kazuha, 2 really great units. What's it called? Hazo, Yao Yao, and Xiangling, all good units if you don't already have them at C6. So definitely.
actually, you just reminded me of something.
What's up?
We got the role for Kazuha before Inazuma came out, didn't we?
Yes, so I mentioned this before. Kazuha was the first example
Okay.
of like us being able to get a character before we went to the region. There was no character like that for Sumeru. We didn't have like a character to roll for that was from Sumeru before we actually got there, before that actual patch.
Technically,
so,
Kale, because they kind of like backtracked and updated the lower spiral a bit. So anyone, even if you didn't go to Sumeru, you can still get Kale before going to Sumeru.
yeah. Well, what I'm talking about is like release order. Like
True,
weren't
yeah.
able to do Sumeru. Like we got Kazuha before we even saw Inazuma. You know, we got him during the Golden Apple Archipelago, the first time around. So, yeah, it's pretty interesting. And we also have the TCG tournament, Astra Carnival, Prince Cup Invitational, North American, like basically esports TCG, Genshin TCG, Genshin Invocation TCG tournament. And it was this past weekend, and the NA champion was a person named Robot Wizard. So, yeah, I didn't watch the whole thing. I watched some of the finals, but it was really intense. Like all the people are just like so good at TCG, and it was really cool seeing high level play. And the commentators were really cool about like commenting what was happening. The problem for me was like you really need to have card knowledge and game knowledge, because like it was happening like decently fast, so like they couldn't explain everything that was happening if you didn't know everything, but they did explain a lot, so it was definitely a good learn. If you're interested in learning, I definitely recommend going back and watching the TCG tournament if you haven't, to learn about how to play the game at a tough professional level. Yeah, so we had that. We also had the Genshin Impact Summer Festival 2023 promotional video, which was Yoimiya and Klee and I think Chi Chi, and yeah, it's pretty cute, like little animation, and it's to advertise some of the stuff they're doing for this summer. I think there was like if you live in New York and London or something like that, they're doing some live event too. But yeah, you can check it out on the Twitter. And the last thing that I want to mention from the news is the Feast of Departed Warriors event has started. It's like a tough boss fighting event where you fight these big monsters, like the Vishaps and stuff. And you can tune up the difficulty for more points. And yeah, it's just another way to test your characters, how built they are and stuff like that. So if you're interested in that, definitely give that a look. Check it out. Spiral Abyss reset too, I believe. So if you're into building your characters very strong and testing them out, that is a good place to go, of course. So yeah, there we go. So that'll be all the Genshin news for this week. If you missed anything or if you want to check it out, make sure you check out Genshin's Twitter. They have pretty much everything on there, and it's a pretty useful source of information for Genshin if you don't already know that. So Yes, so that's it for Genshin News. Let's move on to our main topic of the day, which is divine ingenuity and creative expression in Genshin. So, before we get started, just want to say divine ingenuity, it is for those of you that don't already know, we've already talked about it, but it is a design a custom domain event that is going on right now. It is temporary, and it is very, very robust. There's a lot of things you can do on it. You can make combat domains, you can make theater mechanicus domains, you can make obstacle courses, and all this different stuff. You can combine all those things, and it's really, really, I think, the gateway to Genshin having infinite content in the future, where we just make our own content for each other, and it'll be really, really cool. So I really, really have been enjoying it. Like I said, my streams have been exclusively Divine Ingenuity for the duration of the event so far. And yeah, if you haven't tried it already, I recommend going and trying it out. If you're not one for making things, making domains, go ahead and go to the website and try other people's domains. You can come to our Discord. I made one. I'm making another one. Kahi made one. We shared them in the Discord if you want to try them out. They're on NA server. I may possibly make one or copy them over to the Asia server if I have some time. But yes, it is a very, very cool event. So to get started on our thoughts, now that you've played it a little bit, Kahi, what are your thoughts on Divine Ingenuity?
So we've had something like this before, but it's not nearly as robust as this.
Yeah, it was Divine Ingenuity
before we were able to put blocks.
Yeah.
We could put blocks, we could put chests, we could put like little things here and there, but to my knowledge, this is the first time, first of all, we can put enemies. This is the first time we can put like triggerable, like mechanical devices and do like pretty much block-based coding and link things as, you know, triggers, actions, reactions, basically like a pseudo function kind of stuff. And this is the first time we could do like multiple floors in one domain. At first I didn't really get this. I didn't really like see it, but you could actually make multiple floors. Like, hey, you can go to
multiple
the
areas.
Next part of the domain.
Yep.
Right. So I just kind of stuck with one. So me personally, I love this. I really do. It really allows people to make their own content. Like you said, a lot of games that have this kind of stuff where the players make the content, it's an infinite content farm. Like, it lets there be infinite replayability. Like a lot of like these survival games or open world games where you just, you know, I guess it's kind of like a battle royale type, but just everyone can interact in this set world and they do whatever they want. That's the content. And there are still people playing those games. Like there's a lot of things, there's a lot of appeal to this kind of system where you can make whatever you want and just, you know, let other people play with you. Or maybe just some people just make domains just for the sake of making them. I don't think they even share them. They just want to build something.
Yeah, you don't have to
so
wait for
I
the
like that
developers.
this system exists.
Yeah, you don't have to wait for the developers. You can make the content for yourself in the game and other people.
Yeah, so infinite replayability. I think a lot of games that have infinite replayability have either some kind of PvP system or PvP mode, which is like, yeah, it's always going to be different. The games can always go a certain way. You can always take one little different action. You don't know what they're going to do. It's always different. And then games that are creative, like Minecraft. Things that just let there be an infinite amount of options or results or, I don't know, reactions. Maybe just to spice things up. It gives people a reason to keep playing. It's not just the exact same thing. Some people, I mean, fishing and farming is a little bit different because they're accumulating things. They're getting currencies. That's just the purest form of that. But as far as gameplay and, you know, content, you know, PvP games are always going to be forever relevant until they get new things, new toys to play with or whatnot. But yeah, I like this kind of mode because it shows like a proof that this kind of end game is also plausible, not just combat. Creativity is also a very, very viable end game. But what did you think, Josh? What's like a few of the things that you definitely like the most about this one?
Wait, before that, I actually want to ask you, is there anything you didn't like about the event?
Didn't like? Well, just the limited time. Like, I don't want to put all like days into making a domain and then just gonna done. It just disappears.
Well, the time
because I still have my teapot.
What about the system, like the actual
the
doing
system.
The things in the event and making events?
Oh, so what I wish is they of course they know they have a system where you can have a thing interactive and you trigger the appearance of something. So interacting with a mechanical device can make something appear. However, you can't make a hard object terrain appear, which is weird. Like I can't make a floating platform appear after I trigger something. Like you can do that for the destructible ones, but I can't make a block appear.
Right.
I can't make a structure appear.
Right.
So I they probably did not do that. This is just me speculating. They probably didn't do that because if you make something appear while there's other like, AI like objects
Or characters.
I guess minions or characters, if they make it appear, you could totally mess up something.
Yeah, I had the same thought.
Or like instantly kill the character.
Yeah.
So I understand why they probably could work that out. They could probably do something to, slowly make it appear, but they'd have to change it from a fundamental level. But that's one of the things I wish they added. Just click something, make an object appear.
Ooh,
or click something,
make it invisible.
make this appear.
Imagine like the ones in the open world that are like invisible platforms that you're like you can actually stand on, but you can't see them. It's a different.
Yeah,
it's
I
a
just
different
got
thing.
this idea.
That'd be interesting.
I just realized this. Yeah, having something invisible, making enemies invisible too would be hilarious.
Oh my gosh, that'd be crazy.
Like you make like a haunted house. Literally, I just got that idea when you said that. Just be able to make something invisible.
Yeah. Oh my god, that'd be crazy. Like you can
That'd be
set stuff
funny,
to hidden, but then it's just not there. But like it would be great if it was like actually there, but it was invisible.
Yeah. To the game, the system thinks hidden means not existing.
Yeah.
So it's good. It's actually really clever too. It teaches kids how to code. Teaches people how to do like functions and looping commands and whatnot, and very very basic stuff. But it lets people know like, why isn't this working? They're literally debugging just by asking themselves that question. Why isn't this working? Let me go check the triggers. Oh, here it is. That's literally what developers do, just on a bigger scale up there. But I like it. But I just wish they allowed. Over time, I know they're probably going to do this. They're going to just evolve the system. They're going to add more things to it.
Yeah, I hope so.
Fix a few bugs here and there. Yeah. What'd you like about it? What'd you like or dislike?
Yeah, so I mean, one of the things I really liked about it was just how much stuff there is. Like for the jump from the old Divine Ingenuity, which was like just placing coins around and stuff and wind currents and things, to like being able to place enemies, being able to trigger them with each other, being able to batch select things, so you can select a lot of things at once, up to 10 things only, but you can move a bunch of stuff over at one time. It's just like you're really making your own game. You're really like making your own dungeon, and you're able to use Genshin and its characters and everything to like enjoy it. And it's really cool to see a lot of people's ideas. Like one thing I really love about this kind of thing where people make their own domains and there's so many things you can do, is like when I play other people's domains, you can learn so much. Like I learned so much playing other people's domains, and being a streamer and being part of a community helps, because like people come in and they're just like, hey, you want to try my domain? Or like we share domains in the Discord, like, oh, I tried this one the other day, it's really cool. And you can browse the website, but it's really nice to get like word of mouth communication from friends that are like, hey, this is really cool, you should check this out. And I always learn. I'm always like looking at the way people do stuff, and I love learning about it. One thing I don't like, I guess so I don't really not like anything about the actual system itself. I love the way it works. I just wish there was more stuff and they would give us more freedom in some certain places, like you said, like being able to make terrain appear and disappear, like some of those options. One thing is that like when you're building a stage, you have a load limit, just like in the teapot, and if you have too many things on the stage, but your load limit is not maxed, like your number, it'll say like you have 800 out of 1000 load limit, but it actually, there's like a second hidden number somewhere, or second hidden quota, that even though you're not hitting that 1000, which is the only quota you can see, the only limit you can see, it still says too many objects, cannot save, and it doesn't let you save. And that part really bothers me, because there's nowhere to tell what objects I need to delete or how much an object is taking up, because it's actually not that number in the top right.
Are you talking about like too many of the same object, or just too many object?
I don't know. It doesn't. It just says there are too many objects. So like there are times where I deleted like when I thought it was like too many walls, or is it too many this or that? I don't know. It doesn't tell you. So it could be that.
I can see.
Yeah, but
I think I'm pretty sure there's a limit on specific like mobs first of all, or like a certain limit on the same type of object or a same type of
I know there's a wall limit for sure, because like some people I know tried to make mazes and they would like make the entire maze and then they would go to save it and they can't. And it doesn't take up the load limit, but it's just too many walls. So that some people have experienced that, so that might be, I mean, that might be a big part of it. But I don't like that it doesn't tell you. It doesn't tell you what it is that needs to be removed. It doesn't tell you what's taking it up, how much you're actually getting back if you take away stuff. There's like that second hidden area, which I feel like shouldn't be there. The other thing I personally don't like, and other people like this and they're fine with it, but I personally don't like that achievements are turned on while doing this. Like, you're still part of the game, so people are just making domains where it's really easy to get achievements. So like swirling a bunch of enemies or doing this or killing this many enemies in this amount of time or whatever, and they're making these domains that are just helping you get achievements. And I feel like, you know, yeah, that's great and all if you just want to complete your achievements and you want primogems and stuff, but I feel like if I was the one that designed those achievements, I would want people to actually go out and do those achievements in the world somehow, instead of building a space where they can just do it for free and it's not like very low effort. So
I can see that, I can understand that, but like I'm okay with that. Like if you found the part of the game that allows you to do this kind of stuff, it's the same as, hey, I found the team that could make me do this kind of stuff. But if I make my own domain, I can use my other team. So you give the power back to the player. So I can see both sides of the argument though. But yeah, if I made the achievement, I was hoping that people found out a way to do it in the the game world.
I didn't design it knowing that there was going to be a way to just make it happen. Like, it wouldn't be an achievement. You know what I mean? Like that's the whole point, is that it's an achievement, and you're not really achieving anything if you just give it to yourself on a silver platter. So I'm pretty sure I got progress on a battle pass for doing this domain over and over. Oh yeah.
So it is still a domain. So if you have to do like 15 domains in a week, you can choose one of those easy ones.
The
Let's
problem
clear
is like it's not a permanent mode. So, and maybe they didn't think about these things, but I feel like if they made it a permanent mode, that they should not make achievements gettable on there, and those shouldn't count. But I mean, whatever. Like, you know, maybe in the future, if that's what they want, then
it does feel like cheating. Yes.
No, I mean, it is cheating. Like it is. Like it's those achievements were clearly not meant were made with this event being possible in mind. Like, where you just make that situation. You're supposed to find the situation and do it. So yeah, in terms of game design and stuff, like, it just seems like it shouldn't have been active, but it was left active, and so people are just taking advantage of that, and that's fine, because it's not like you're breaking any rules. But like, I personally think that if they bring this back, they should turn that off, because that's not the point of the achievements. So anyway, yeah, so like that's one thing I dislike, you know, quote unquote dislike about it, is like, I wish they would fix that so that people can't just cheese it all the time. Yeah, so in terms of like feedback, obviously I like that. No, I want them to make the load limit thing more clear. I don't like that you can get all the way into building and you're like really into it, and then like I made a whole dungeon section and like a whole section of my domain with puzzles and everything, and then it just said like it's too much limit, and I just kept deleting stuff, but it still said too much limit. So I didn't know what to do. So I didn't know what to delete, so I just deleted the entire thing.
Okay, that might be a bug too, because if you kept deleting and still said you have too much, it's probably on it's probably a server side issue.
I don't know, it was weird. So the thing is, I hope that they fix that so that it's more transparent. Other thing is that we were doing this on stream yesterday, right? During co-op, when you're trying to do domains, you can't, first of all, it's really difficult to like set up a co-op domain and publish it by yourself. You need to have someone with you, and I feel like there is a way to get around that. Like, if you're testing your domain and it's a co-op domain, you should be able to switch back and forth between like where the player 1 should be and where the player 2 should be. I feel like that should be a thing, but it's not. So you basically need a friend to clear your dungeon with you in co-op mode so that you can publish it. Now, when you actually go to co-op mode with a friend, there is a 1-player start and a 2-player start, and the person who is hosting will always be 1 player. So if you're trying to show someone a domain, or you want to switch sides, like maybe one side of the domain is harder mechanically, combat-wise, or one of the other side is harder obstacle course-wise, you can't choose who gets to do which side. You have to change hosts. And the problem that brings with me is, for example, my NA account is not up to speed. It's not world level 8 yet. But I can't join Kahi's world to be the second player, because Kahi's at world level 8. So, it's a problem for me as the newer player that I won't be able to. I can only be the first player in a co-op domain. So that's one feedback that I'm going to put in the survey this week. And the other thing is, when making a co-op domain, when you're making a normal domain, you can set it so that the player can play as 1 character. But if you're setting a co-op domain, you have to set 4 characters minimum. And I really wanted to make a domain where you have Klee and Albedo on one side and the other side, and 2 players are playing, trying to get back to each other, like, reunite brother sister sort of deal. But like, it wouldn't let me do it because I need to have 4 characters minimum. So I ended up turning my domain, instead of a 1 person domain, to a Klee Albedo domain and Ayaka Ayato domain. So now I have 4 characters, and it also doesn't let you choose first player gets these characters and second player gets these characters. You have to find a way to force them to choose the right characters for the domain. So there's a lot of things I wish that they would fix with that to make it more obvious. And one thing to help to that point is that in game there's no descriptions of your domain. There's no names. There's no like, this is the theme of this domain. You have to go to the website for that. But in game there's nothing there. So that's some of the feedback I have. Kahi, did you have other feedback that you were thinking about giving for this?
Early on, I think the only thing that I can think of is just expanding on what people are allowed to do in the domains. Like, just making something appear seems fairly basic for me, because I mean, you can make enemies appear by switching this thing on, so can I not just make a block appear with just switch? So probably they can work out how that's going to happen, just materializing things into the world. The other thing is, if they can find a way to make this thing permanent, I'm sure it's like a storage issue, or like, because if you allow a player to have like an infinite amount of data they can create on their side and send it up to the server, that's a lot. So it's probably just a lot of back-end work. But as far as like what they gave us this time around, again, yes, dramatically different from last custom domain event. This one is like a really good step up. So I really like how it's going. I definitely want to see it getting better. Nothing that prevents me from really playing it other than the time limitations. Like, oh, I'm not going to spend 20 hours making this thing because you're just going to destroy it. I still have my teapot. I'm proud of that. I don't go back there a lot, but I have the ability to make things in my teapot and it stays. So I like that. I like that feeling. I don't like the feeling of undoing all of my hard work. So a lot of people may get discouraged from even participating just because of that.
Right.
How about you? Before we talk about like some other types of games, any last minute feedback?
No, I think that pretty much about covers it. Like, there's just so much potential in this game mode, and I think that it could be tweaked. Just little tweaks here and there to make it more enjoyable, to make it easier to understand, to navigate through. And I understand this is a temporary event, but as if it becomes permanent, I would love for them to really pay attention to this mode and really feature domains made by creators. I think I would love to be in the forefront of that.
So one game I want to compare this to right away. I want to like compare contrast like some build modes in other games compared to this one. The one thing I remember spending the most time in any game building, even above Minecraft, is Halo Forge.
Same.
Because the thing about Halo Forge is that they were very heavily reliant upon physics, because there were no triggers. There were no like, oh, hey, do this switch opens door. No, it's just, you literally made everything happen yourself. So you had to like, there was a very interesting trick that you could make things float. Of course they added that over time, but like early on in like Halo 3 Forge, this was like the first big time, the first time and that I could remember that a game community like spent so much time making stuff in back then, because
Yeah.
this is like Xbox 360 era. Um, they just kept making pictures, they just kept making videos, they made machinimas. This birthed like a whole new era of content creation that I don't think any game has been able to mimic other than, Minecraft. Because
Right. Exactly.
that's just like a pure like sandbox game.
Yeah.
But Halo Forge was interesting because you had to use all the existing assets in the game differently than what they were intended to do, like the fusion coil. Because all it does is blow up. But if you made this blow up underneath something, it made that thing launch, and it made that thing hits this thing, and then it lowers these other platforms. People were making inventions.
Yeah,
in
there
that
were
game.
basically like a bunch of
It was
roof
hilarious.
machines, like where,
Oh, I loved it.
like
Mhm.
for example, like you said, and I base a lot of my domain off of this, like concepts that I found in Halo Forge, where like you would be trapped in a room that they put like you in like a box, but there's like a crack through the wall that you can see, and somewhere on the other side of the map there's like a little fusion coil, little basically it's like a red barrel, like explosive barrel, and you shoot it and it sets off a chain reaction to other barrels, and then it blows up like the car that was blocking your way, and then now you can suddenly pass through, and the car acts as like sort of a door that once it was destroyed it was gone. So there's no way to just put a door down. You would have to put an object that would be destroyed by a chain reaction. And so yeah, so a lot of those concepts I took about like being observant and like looking for something to shoot, like I use that in my domain for like Amber, and it was man, like hearing you talk about it too, it's just so nostalgic and so like
No, right?
there were yeah.
All the inventions, all
Yeah,
the
like
machines.
I loved everything. Like I loved the jumping puzzles and platforming obstacle courses and the escape rooms, and it was so fun. You couldn't put down enemies, so it was like there was no real enemies. But like if you had an obstacle, they would do things like, they would they would make like blenders and stuff, like where like you would have like objects that were just spinning around and glitching out, and if you like tried to walk through it, the car that's glitching out inside would like randomly hit you, and that was like the obstacle. The obstacle was like the car that keeps blowing up over and over again. Like it was so creative. Like people had to be creative, and they were just so good at it. Like I learned so much. I played more than I made at that time because I was younger, but it was definitely inspiring to me to see people creating content like this, like being so innovative with how they used it. And I can say that trying other people's domains in Divine Ingenuity gives me the same feeling. Like watching other people play stuff, like watching other people play my domain gives me the same feeling. Like just seeing things I didn't see when I was testing it, or people trying things I never thought of, and it's so interesting to like be part of a community that has so much freedom to create, and especially in a game with such as high quality as Genshin. And so I really, really hope this event stays. I'm going to say that so many times during this podcast, but I really hope it comes back and just stays forever. But yeah, so Halo Forge. We also, one really recent trend, as a lot of you have probably seen, is Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, where you can take any objects and fuse them together and stick a controller on them and move them around and like do all this crazy stuff, add rockets. And so like, I wanted to talk about creative expression because, in Divine Ingenuity, you have the ability to create this domain and really be creative about the way you place enemies, be creative about the way you use your characters, about the mechanics of the game, like jumping or going through gliders and things. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, if you haven't seen the videos already, like lets you do a lot of creative things with the overworld. So like you're not in a domain, there are domain type things like puzzles in Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, but you can also do it in the open world, and how it lets you kind of explore freely and just do whatever you want. And obviously the game is gigantic, it's huge, but it's just an interesting thing to compare Genshin to, because Genshin and Zelda have a lot of similarities when it comes to like traveling around the open world, but a lot of the creative things that you can do to express yourself, besides just using characters and their abilities, are very limited in the overworld in Genshin. And so Divine Ingenuity kind of gives you some freedom to like do some crazy stuff, including like using the buffs that they have in there as well, and the you know, what is it called, like agility, jumping things, and all this different stuff. So I think that it's a pretty interesting comparison. Like, what do you think about like Zelda versus Genshin when it comes to creative expression, Kahi?
Well, one blaring difference is that in Zelda, the new one, you can actually take your inventions out into the real world and defeat the bosses with them.
Right.
That is something you cannot do in Genshin. You have to use your character to do that. Now, both of them have their pluses and minuses and pros and cons and whatever, but I thought that was incredibly clever how they solved this open world puzzle with like this really long ladder. They just skip the whole thing and just walk right over it. Or like literally making a plane with lasers fight the dragon.
Yeah, I saw that.
I swear, that was the best. I was like, it almost makes me want to get a Switch just to play that. I haven't had a Switch in a while.
Like a robot, like a...
Yeah, you choose how you want to beat this boss.
Yeah.
Like you can just do it solo with just you and your club and your sword or whatever, or you can make an invention and have your minions fight the boss for you.
Or you can do things
Either
like
way, it's
the
fine.
enemy throws something at you and you reverse time and it like hits the enemy,
Mhm.
like stuff like that. I love that.
Yep. Or just using like a spinning rock
Right.
to constantly hit and impact the boss. Like a giant club. You can come up with so many clever ways to like beat the game. I mean, to your point earlier, yeah, I mean, from a game designer's perspective, if I had made an achievement and I wanted people to, walk through this cave and get to the end of the cave and then get the achievement, and then someone just like skips the whole cave and gets the achievement, I would feel kind of bad. I would feel like, oh, that's cheating. I didn't intend for that to be the way you do it, but would I be okay with like how clever their solution was? I'd say I'd be amazed.
Yeah, I mean, I think
at finding out the
the difference
solutions.
is that Zelda is based around that. Like this Zelda game is based around the idea that you can use all of these contraptions and stuff. Like they let you use them, right? The difference with the Genshin thing, when I was talking about achievements, is that this feature wasn't in the game initially to make these domains, and so for people to make domains to farm achievements when those achievements are meant to be gotten by challenging yourself out in the open world and saying, oh, I got this achievement, it kind of defeats that purpose. Like you can just say, oh yeah, I got it by farming achievement. You don't like think of the time that you did that, like, oh, how did I do that? Or for the achievements that are like quote unquote harder to get. Plus, like, while you're randomly adventuring around the open world and you like find a group of enemies and you happen to freeze all of them at the same time, and then you blow them up at the same time and melt people 5 times within 3 seconds or whatever, and then you get an achievement and pops up, it feels good. You're like, oh, I did something kind of hard. I did something kind of cool. But if you just go into a domain and farm it, if you actually do that in the real world, you won't get any kind of notification for it. You'll just have already gotten it. And you don't feel, it doesn't help you to feel like you did anything. It's just some free primo gems.
The level of satisfaction is different, right?
I mean, you just get free primo gems. Like people are just trying to fill out their collection and get free primo gems. That's why they farm achievements, right? They don't care about the actual achievement, because if they did, they wouldn't do that. So yeah, and I get that. That's a mentality. I just feel like in a game design term, like I said, that would kind of suck for me if I was the one who was like trying to think really hard about interesting achievements to make, and someone just broke it by doing something in a feature that was added later to the game. So, but that's fine. Like that's a totally different thing. But yeah, but Zelda was based around that. So, and Genshin, I love. That's why I love making my domains based around the characters, because that's what's unique to Genshin, the characters and their abilities. And you can make some really unique puzzles, as I showed you on stream the other day. You can make some really unique puzzles using characters' abilities, and taking advantage of the way that their characters interact with the world around them. And I think that's really cool. In Zelda, you have that ability as Link to do whatever you want with whatever you got. But in Genshin, depending on what characters you have the ability to do it. And in Divine Ingenuity, you can assign any character, even characters that the players don't have, so which adds extra replayability and fun, because you can essentially test out characters you don't have. Like, do you want them or not? Do you want to pull for them or not? I don't know. Why don't you try them in this domain and find out, more than just the normal trial thing. So I think it's so cool to be able to have the freedom to do that in Genshin with this event. But yeah, Zelda is a totally different beast. That game is built off of its creative expression. It's so vast.
I mean, if you look at it like Minecraft too. Minecraft is just the staple of open world sandbox,
Yeah.
make everything yourself game, because you can literally mine the whole world. Zelda, like, there's an established world. You can't really like break the mountain. You can't really like interfere with the cutscenes, like the real-time cutscenes. Halo was like isolated to you make a map and other people can play the map, but you can't really like affect the story of the game or like the NPCs or
Right.
enemies.
Like in Genshin.
And then yeah, each game has like their building system revolves around their existing game based on what their genre is. So like I mean, Halo's a FPS game. Zelda is very very similar to Genshin as far as like story and narrative, but it's not a gacha game. And of course, they have their own unique properties as well. Minecraft, same thing. And you wrote down another game. I don't know this one. Meet Your Maker.
Yes. So, have you ever heard
What
of
is that
Mario
one?
Maker?
Mario. I think so.
So Mario Maker and Meet Your Maker are kind of the same. Imagine if if Genshin's game was Divine Ingenuity. Like that's the whole game. Like the game is literally just
Oh wow.
created levels by other people. Like the devs make you some levels to test out the mechanics, just like the preset domains, right? But then the rest of the game, literally the entire rest of the game, is just making domains, sharing them with other people, and playing other people's domains. That's the whole game. So
Is it like Gary's mod?
I don't know. I didn't really play that much Gary's mod. I think Gary's mod has a little more
okay.
freedom, but yeah, it's similar to that, like where you can make something and share it, and make custom rooms and stuff. So Mario Maker is the Mario game, like like Super Mario Bros, like side-scrolling where you're Mario and you jump and you collect mushrooms and all this stuff. But you make levels. You can actually make entire games, similar to how in Genshin, in Divine Ingenuity, you can make multiple areas. Remember how you were saying that? You can do that in Mario Maker too. So you can make like multiple levels, quote unquote, and you can basically make an entire game, an entire Mario game, an entire Mario game segment. And then as the game was on, Mario Maker 2 came out, and there's like so many extra features. You can play as Link from Zelda in Mario Maker. You can play as other characters. There's like they added extra features, extra aesthetics, extra things, and it's basically like super version of like Divine Ingenuity, but for Mario the game. Now this is 2D, so it's kind of different from Divine Ingenuity. A game that came out recently, it's by the makers of the game Dead by Daylight, if you've ever heard of that. It's called Behavior Interactive. They made this game called Meet Your Maker. It was actually free on PlayStation a couple months ago when it came out. And what it is the same thing. But it's closer to Halo mixed with Divine Ingenuity and Genshin. So you have these domains that are made by blocks. So it's all block based, to where like you put objects and things. And the goal is you make a dungeon, and in this dungeon there is a precious resource that you have to grab. And your goal when you go to someone's dungeon is you go through their dungeon, dodge all the traps, grab the resource, and then you have to run out and escape. And it's basically like Indiana Jones, the sort of like Tomb Raider-y, like you go in, there's a bunch of traps, like you go into a pyramid, there's a bunch of traps, you steal the jewel, and then you leave, and as you pick up the jewel, more traps activate, and you're running from a giant boulder all of a sudden. Like that kind of Tomb Raider-esque gameplay. And it's a first-person game, and it's very brutal. You die in one hit. So, and there's a bunch of creatures that can be there. There's traps like spikes in the floor. There are hidden traps. There's always a way to know, like when there's a trap that's aiming at you or something like that. There's always a little tiny warning, but you have to be really fast at reacting, and you have to anticipate it, or else you'll die and you have to start over. So it's really, I was playing that for the past, for a little bit, for the past couple months. And then once Divine Ingenuity came out, all of my ideas and about like how domains work, how to guide the players through the dungeon, how to get them to look in one direction, but then the thing that they actually need is over here. Like those kind of concepts have been fresh in my mind because I played this game, and it transfers really, really well into Divine Ingenuity, and like it really makes me feel like Genshin has a really, really good, because actually in that game you can't do triggers the way you can do in Genshin. Like Genshin's trigger system, like letting you have the freedom to choose how objects interact with each other based off of being triggered, is so cool. Like it's so like, how can I say this? You have so many options. There's so much potential for what you can do with those trigger systems, and I almost wish like an extra feedback could be to add more triggers actually, and to add more available ways to trigger things. Like you were saying, make objects invisible to visible, and like for terrain and stuff. Like Meet Your Maker. I mean, if you haven't played it, I say like check out a video. It's kind of weird to look at first, but it is essentially like what Divine Ingenuity is in a lot of ways, and it's just a pure like the whole entire game, the entire community is people making maps for other people and playing other people's maps. Like that's the whole thing, and it's really cool. They have a really cool system that I wish that they could implement in something like Divine Ingenuity if they made it a permanent mode, where the more people that try your domain and like are able to do it and like it and comment it and share whatever, you actually get points so that you can level up your domains and all this stuff. But the entire game is based around that, so that's why they have it. I just would love for them to implement a system where it's easier to share, recommend, and get something for playing people's domains. So yeah, that's why I wanted to bring it up. I didn't want to be too hardcore about it.
I have a feeling that it is within Hoyoverse's power to involve this kind of custom domain building system into like the story. Like if we ever went to some, I don't know, like if I'm thinking in Fontaine, what if there's like this really old museum that we have to refurbish, and we can choose how the museum looks, or like, hey, we find this warehouse or this building and we have to rebuild the mechanisms to make the building work again. And like the system is in place. They can, tweak it a little bit to like, limit what kind of things you can make, but just being able to build the solution that's also story related, that's story driven. I feel like it's possible because I know Zelda has done that even like way back then.
Yeah.
I think Ocarina of Time, you could move things, you can move objects around, move blocks out of the way, get to the chest, and then you can
oh my
walk
god,
right out
you
of
just
there.
gave me a great idea. That I'm gonna put this in the feedback. They should let you use Sorush.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
there you go.
like there's so many
Sorush
puzzles.
exists.
Yeah, there's so many puzzles that Sorush, like you have to do with Sorush in the open world. That would be really cool to incorporate into
There's
Divine
mechanisms
Ingenuity.
that move too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when you went down into that one ancient ruin guard, like you could still like move objects that go towards a door, that aim a light at the door, opens the door. Like that exists too. I'm sure they can add that next time, but I know that they are pulling everything that they have now from existing assets. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of things in Sumeru that we can use too. They pulled some NPCs and monsters from Sumeru. I'm sure the next one will have like all the other things that we were able to interact with too. So yeah, that's probably just a given. But I'm saying Hoyoverse, I believe it is within their power to make us be able to build something that's also as a part of the story, like an actual canon build crafting too. Like, I'm pretty sure they are able to do something like this.
Oh
so
yeah.
that it's not isolated to an event.
That'd be great. I would love that. Like some interacting with the overworld in that way would be really cool.
But overall, I like how they're letting us do more creative building things, and it's only going to improve. It's nothing in this game has ever like regressed or got worse when they introduce a new thing. Yeah, so I have confidence in these guys. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, and I still think this game, I mean this mode, this Divine Ingenuity mode, is still one of the biggest things we can do for Genshin's replayability, the infinite replayability potential. Like when there's downtime, like right now, this is why this event is so great and so perfect, because I'm not worrying about story stuff right now. I've done everything I need to do, and like now I want to play Genshin, but I don't know what to do. But now I can play Genshin infinitely. I can make stuff for other people. I can play other people's stuff. Oh, I guess one of the other problems is each person per account can only have 5 domains, which is just not enough, period. Like I would that's not enough. Like if this became a full mode, I would need like 100 domains or 50 or something like that. Like there's too.
That's a lot of data.
Yeah, there's just too. I mean, if there's anyone they can do it, they can do it, right? Or like at least 10 or 20. But like 5 is very, very few, and I don't want to have to like delete stuff so frequently, before many people have the chance to play it. Obviously, I have multiple accounts too, so I could do multiple accounts. But you know, same time. It's like that's so few. Um, but yeah, I mean, that's great. I think that we could see more of this in the future. If you got the survey, please answer it. If you really want to see more of this, or if you didn't like it, you know, let us know your thoughts. Let us know in the Discord. Let us know in on Twitter, wherever you want to let us know. Spotify, and yeah, I'm just. If you have any domains you want to share, join our Discord. We have a channel for it. Share it. Let's play. It does depend on the server though. So just so you know, the ones I made my domains on and me and Kahi made are on NA server. But I may be interested in making one for Asia server later. But anyway, if you want to join the conversation, join the Discord and let us know. So I think that's all we have for Divine Ingenuity and Creative Expression right now. But that actually ties into our next question is, you know, adding things to the overworld like we were talking about. Last week's question was, for the community discussion question, was if you could add something into the world of Tevat, what would you add and where? So Kahi, what would you add?
I would probably add something like an outpost for Mondstadt, because I feel like Mondstadt's just like the smallest area. I mean, like not the region, but like the city. Like it feels smaller than all the other cities and regions. So having like some kind of outpost, and the reason why it's this is because if you keep checking back, you can see like, oh, did someone come back from their scouting mission? So it could, like, an NPC could show up and they're different like every day because, you know, they're back from their scouting mission. So it's something that you can build into the world that is expected to be different in some way, or have some new people there, or have some vendor with new goods like that are from other types of regions. I know you can just simply go to like that region and just buy it from that vendor, but something just rotating, something that's always like changing and different, just feels more alive. So something like a Knights of Favonius outpost, because maybe we get to see Eula more, or maybe we get to see Mika more. Maybe we actually, that's where we meet up with, you know, the captain finally.
Wait, Eula? Who's that?
Eula. So in the lore, there's this character named Eula.
Oh my gosh.
She's never been in the game before. She's like, this is like, we don't even get to see her yet, but
I heard she's cool.
Yeah.
As
in the, you know, long ago in the golden ages, like 500 years ago.
Oh my god, 500 years ago. There it is.
Yeah, there was the Lawrence clan, and then they had a daughter.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I hope we get to hear more about this secret character. That sounds awesome. But no, seriously, here's to hoping that Eula and Kokomi get reruns soon, because that is a very long time that we've seen these people. So.
Oh yeah, it has been a while since Kokomi came out.
Yeah, there's someone in the server specifically who's just building and saving everything for Kokomi, because when they started, they were like, Kokomi banner was there and they wanted Kokomi, but they couldn't get it because they started with 3 days left on the banner.
Oh,
and
man.
So just been waiting ever since. Yeah, it's a very fun question. So for me, I would probably want to add like, okay, I want to add like a game in Inazuma, like that's not TCG, it's just like a side game that you can play that's like similar to like a Japanese board game called shogi. It's like Japanese chess. I would love for there to be that, or it could just,
this is the black and white tiles.
yeah. It could just be like, it could literally just be chess. Like I just want them to add like a chess like game, like an easy to play game that you can play with other people in game. You can even be checkers or tic-tac-toe or something like that, like a place where you go, like a cool game house. The reason I thought shogi was because like the Japanese aesthetic is super cool as like a background for like those kind of games, but I would love for them to add like another little mini game that you could play with friends. That's not something like TCG where you have to collect and learn. Like it's literally just a quick game that you can play for fun, kind of like the fishing mini game, right? Like it's like a mini game. I would love to do that.
I have an alternative for you, and I feel like this is a good compromise. Or it's not going to be an interactive game, but it is going to be a chessboard somewhere that's like, this place seems like it's important, but no one's here, nothing's here other than this chessboard. But after like every like Archon quest, a piece moves. And so people, when they come back and they look at the board, they're like, "Oh my god, a paste move! What does this mean?" And that's actually like literally foreshadowing the story.
Oh my gosh.
That'd be great. That'd be fun.
That'd be interesting for
Like
sure.
something that changes in the world that you like. Like here's an example. Like the new Electro Scorpions that came out in Sumeru like 2 batches ago. They popped up at Inazuma. No one knows why. I'm sure there's a story reason. I'm sure there's like a lore hint or something like that. You know, just an evolving, something that evolves in the world, but something that also kind of hints at it. Because a lot of games do this as well. They hide something in the background or in the lore and say, hey, this is going to happen in the story. Like, an example was when I was playing World of Warcraft, I remember getting an official, like, mail in my mailbox that was like a prophecy that they literally just told us that Varian was going to die.
What the heck?
And I'm like, why would they just tell us this? Obviously they didn't use names, but they just said like the lion will like fall or something. Fire will come from the sky. I'm like, why is this in my mailbox?
Oh my gosh.
Why did you just spoil it? But it wasn't really a spoiler, but it kept us like in the know. Like, hey, something's happening, something's gonna happen. But like visually, you know?
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I think that'd be cool. But who else has some good ideas? What other cool ideas do we have? What does our Discord community say?
Okay, so for the Discord community, the Descender says, I would love to see a place like Isengard from Lord of the Rings, somewhere with a really big tower that can be seen from anywhere, maybe even in the middle of the ocean. Ooh, that's interesting. A big tower seen in the middle of the ocean.
A couple episodes ago, I had like a riddle. Like there's a certain place in Inazuma, Liyue, the Jade Chamber. You can actually see like all the nations from the floating Jade Chamber.
Right.
I'm pretty sure there's some other places too, but like that one has a pretty clear view of all like the main city hubs.
Yeah, so it'd be really cool to see a giant tower sticking out of the ocean then.
I mean, when we get to Celestial, we can see everything.
They're taking the hobbits to Isengard. All right. So Ketsaya says, I would make a little pool that's really hard to notice in the Grand Bazaar to see the NPCs almost fall in there. Interesting. What? Would they fall in there?
Like a little trap.
A little pool?
Probably. I mean, if you have a walking path, they would walk into something.
Oh my gosh.
Because they can walk into water, they just get trapped.
Oh my god, that's funny. Flat Child says, put a whole McDonald's there as well as Jollibee. I'm a simple boy.
No, they should put a KFC.
Oh yeah,
a Pizza Hut.
It's canon. They're
it's
canon.
canon.
They're canon. Those are canon. Oh my god. Peachy Oranges says, a Macy's, a TJ Maxx, a Tuesday Morning, Ross, Kohl's, Burlington, Home Goods, Marshalls, Kirkland, you know, all the regular mall stores that are the same thing with a Sephora and Blockbuster and like 17 Claire's in that same mall. Okay, so a mall?
Mall.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So a mall. So just like your most generic American mall. Got it. Fox with Wings. I've been mulling this one over for the last few days, and I think what I would want is another minigame. Oh, hey, sort of like fishing. Boom, Fox, we have the same thoughts. So I think I would suggest an art minigame. Oh, okay, never mind. We don't have the same thoughts. I would place several canvas objects around interesting locations. You'd have to collect materials to make different colors of ink, and then interact with the canvases to paint the scenery. You could also have a free mode in which you can paint whatever you want. Could be a cool way to decorate your Serenity Pot. Cool. Your Serenity Pot too. Yeah, cool. Actually, anything that actually makes sense. Anything that like can help to add to the teapot, I think is also cool.
The one concern is like a lot of other game developers have the same caution about this. If you let people draw something, they're gonna draw something that you don't want, and it's gonna be against TOS.
Oh yeah.
And yeah,
You're right.
It's gonna be rough.
Humans. By the way, have you watched Mythic Quest on Apple TV Plus?
No, how is it?
Oh my god, Kai, it's amazing. What are you doing? You have to go watch that, like, as soon as possible.
You know how many anime is in my queue right now?
Forget anime.
And I have
this
no
show
time?
just it's there and it ends.
Come
The anime
on.
is there forever. It just keeps coming forever. It never ends. Just watch this show. It's so good. It's like
Mythic
yeah,
Quest.
it's so worth it.
I've heard something about it, but
Yeah,
you know,
no, it's so worth it.
I'll find time.
They do this. They
I have
add
a lot.
let's make the world innovative or let's make the world interactable and creative and stuff. And people are able to like draw. It's like essentially like World of Warcraft, right? Like that's the game that they're playing, and it's so funny. Okay, If you've seen it, you know. But it's funny. Like if you give,
I have a feeling I know what they're
yeah,
drawing.
if you give people the people, creative way to like creatively draw something or whatever, then it's just gonna be the same result. Retro Sky says some sign of the cataclysm 500 years ago would be nice. Scarring, signs of battle, graveyards, etc. It sort of seems to just be something we've heard about, never really seen. I suppose 500 years would make enough time for some things to recover, but surely there should be something. I just feel that seeing some sign of those happenings would make them seem much more real. That's a good point. There you go, Kahi. 500 years ago. Meowie says, skating rink, please, where we can equip skate shoes and co-op with friends. We'll place it in Mondstadt because there's a lot of empty spaces there. Yo, a skating rink in Genshin? That would be like the most fun surprise thing ever.
That would be cool.
Yeah. Oh my god.
It's just you're playing with momentum, basically. Like, you can move. You just, like, after you stop sprinting, you just continue to move forward. That's a very simple mechanic to add to a game.
No, I expect Spider-Man level physics.
Attack on Titan. Everyone's swinging around, sword fighting.
What the heck? Baby Girl 28. The One Piece ship, Sunny and the Mary, or either one, anywhere in the ocean, so that can be my chill spot and wishing spot. Wow, just a big One Piece fan, I guess.
What's the ship called?
There's the Thousand Sunny and the Going Merry. There are two ships. The first one is the Going Merry, and the second one is Thousand Sunny. Koalamity.
Koalamity.
Yeah. Oh, Koalamity. That's a good way to say it.
Yeah.
Koalamity. Yeah, it's Koalamity. I would love to see a nod to the Great Plateau from Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom in either a domain or an island in the sky. I would also like to see a character like Zelda/Link. If Genshin did a collab with Nintendo, it would be awesome since Genshin is based off it. Yeah, I mean, it's not officially based off it, but it's like very similar to it. And I would love if, look, I had thought about this. Like, you know how Genshin was supposed to come to the Switch like 3 years ago?
Don't worry, it's coming. They're working.
Yeah,
on it.
yeah.
They're gonna do
coming.
it. They're so gonna do it. We're just a couple patches away.
I was thinking if like they do something like they did with Aloy, like because they put Aloy as like a collab character for being able to play on PlayStation. So if they do a collab character for Nintendo, I think it would be awesome if Link was just a playable character. That would make the game insane, and then so much more people would play it, like just because Link is in it. You know what I mean?
Well, I have a feeling that, you know, Honkai Star Rail is a really good space for, the pun intended, it's a really good space for them to do like collabs, because that's their whole thing, going to different universes.
Oh, 100%.
I'm sure they can do it. Yeah.
I was even thinking just now as I was saying like that they did the Aloy for the PlayStation collab for Genshin. I wonder if they're going to do a collab for Honkai Star Rail for PlayStation 2, because it's supposed to come out from PlayStation in a couple months.
Wait, it's not already there?
No.
Oh, I thought it was.
No, they mentioned before it released that it would come out later on PlayStation.
Okay, cool.
Oh man, so now I want to think about what characters would collab in Honkai Star Rail well, but maybe we'll ask that in the Discord. Alright, Kahi, so that's all for Discord. What about Spotify?
On Spotify, we have God Usopp. Oh, hey, look, another One Piece fan. Yeah, God Usopp says, a tree that can produce 5 condensed resin every week after you level it up, just like the Frostbearing tree. I mean, it would be a really great help, especially for free-to-play players. You know, I like that idea.
That's a cool
really
concept, like an extra
like
way
you
to
grow
get
a tree.
condensed resin. Yeah.
Because you can grow plants in your teapot. You can grow some kind of resource out there in the world. That's
condensed resin doesn't just grow on trees, Kahi.
Yeah, it just regenerates magically into your bag.
Yeah.
Next up we have Octura says, I would add an arena similar to the Spiral Abyss, but you could keep deciding to continue to harder and harder ways for greater rewards. Yes, if you fail, you have to start over again. It's up to you to stop. You see, like an endless wave, endless horde mode is good because you can see like, oh, I reached floor 72, and then that will be the leaderboard, okay? But the problem is, like, the only people that can get there are the whales. So
yeah,
that sucks.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
it's a
so
good idea. I like that. I really
like
do. But
they could do it would be different. It wouldn't be something like Spiral Abyss where you test out your characters and how much investment you put into them, but it would be a test of everyone on equal grounds. It would be like, here's the characters you can choose from this week. Their stats are all set. Like everything is set. Their equipment is set, or you can choose from different sets that are preset. So that way there's no like whale stuff. Or it's like a game mode where you can exclusively try out C6 versions of all the characters, and it is
I was about to say,
yeah,
yeah,
the
like if you're
opposite.
gonna have like a static
Yeah.
amount of equipment, everyone's the same.
Make
why don't you
everyone
just give us
OP.
all the characters?
Yeah, make everyone OP. Why not?
Yeah, and then add like, little power-ups that you can choose. Like, oh, if you choose this power-up, 3 floors later, that's gonna be the best power-up. Kind of like Honkai Star Rail, Simulated Universe, Endless Mode. That'd be nice.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool actually.
Okay, so here's an interesting one. You'll love this one, or not. Person is me 13th of Harbingers. A person in any city that I can kill for raw meat, but then the guards of that city will chase me for 10 minutes straight. Nothing I can do other than kill them, but that'll be very hard.
It sounds like Skyrim. Just reminds me of Skyrim.
You harvest the people for meat. Oh my goodness. We have Mr. James. I would add a secret portal in Windrise that leads you to the roots of the giant tree. Each week, the roots would give you 2 wishes. Maybe one. Just to be like, simple.
They're already pretty generous about wishes.
They're generous, yeah. 1 free wish a week. That might be nice. And of course, James's famous hashtag Klee. And next we have the princess in what is it?
Der Verurteilung.
Der Verurteilung. Okay. Wow, that's a lot. That's a hard one. I would add the characters to a location where they would usually be, like Beto to the Crux, but the characters would be able to move from day to day, so you have something like a small journey with them. You see, I wish they would do that, because they already are doing that.
Because
the characters can exist in the world. No, not just Beto, but like you meet a character, you never see them again, ever, in the open world, maybe not even in the story for a very long time.
Yeah.
Like, because this is actually the perfect example. Beto is the perfect example. Like, that's her ship. If you go to her ship, where's Beto? Why do you not see Beto?
She's in your teapot, bro.
Not all the time. she's a free woman. She can do whatever she likes. But yeah, I like that idea. Tris125 says, I would like a tree that gave you rewards with the flowers you give it. Can you please voice act this as a Genshin character, please? Thank you. so they wanted us to do to say this like a voice actor. Well, I just kind of just read it straight up.
What? Wait, I should look at it.
I don't know. It says, I would like a tree that gave you rewards with the flowers that you give it. Can you please voice act this as a Genshin character, please? Thank you, and have a fun day. How would you do that, Josh?
Can you
Trist
please
125,
voice
do you see
act
it?
this as a Genshin character, please?
I guess just sing the first part. I don't know.
What? Huh? Well, how would you do that? How would you, I would like a tree that gave you rewards with the flowers you give it. Like, say that as a Genshin character.
I'm assuming that's what they were asking.
I don't know. Wait.
Well, yeah, it's hard to imagine. Hard to, or just say it, animated like.
I would like a tree that gave you rewards with the flowers you give it.
Not bad.
Now stop following me.
Next up, Amel Strange. I will implement a drunk mode. Slowed movement, blurry vision, lowered stats. When you consume certain drinks from the Cat's Tail or Angel Share for funsies and add challenge. I like this because it reminds me of World of Warcraft. You'd literally have to do that. Like, there's a bar. Obviously, your character can't really do anything. There's no stat boost or nothing, but if you consume it, your character can't run in a straight line. That's actually pretty funny.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, next, and lastly, we have Peter. Says, I would probably build a cool looking throne, the hands of the Venti statue in Mondstadt. Oh, something subtle, but that's the best lookout point in Mondstadt. Nice. It'd be kind of weird that the statue just holding a chair though. It's supposed to be just open. But yeah, that'd be a really good seat. I think you can sit there. Can you?
In the hands of the Venti statue, yeah.
Yeah, you can. There's no sit button.
There is.
There is?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's where people go to wish all the time.
Oh, I thought they just stood there. Okay. I haven't been there in a while. Maybe I gotta go back and try it. That is a good place for pictures. All right, and that will be our Spotify. Yeah, that is our Spotify responses. Josh, since we've been talking a lot about domains and creativity and creative expression and building and placing things in the world, what's our next week's question for the community?
Well, our next week's question is if you could create a new elemental skill in addition to what a character already has, who would it be for, what would it do, and what would the skill be named? So
you can give a skill to add a skill.
Yes, add a skill.
To
so
someone.
like as if someone had 2 elemental skills and a burst skill. So like what would you do? Like what would you add?
Oh, I already know my answer for this one.
Oh, okay, well, save it for next week.
Yeah. It's an incentive to listen to next week's episode on Dragon Ball Z. I'm just kidding. On the Genshin Guys podcast. Heading into our last segment.
Yes, last wish segment. So, let's do it. Let's do last wish segment. We're gonna pick one. We're gonna pick one banner that we're both gonna roll on. I mean, we can each pick different banners. Doesn't have to be the same one. But we will roll one time, pull one wish, and see what we get. Okay, Kai, you want to go first?
All right. Just for laughs, I'm gonna roll for Alhaitham. Probably not gonna get him because I got Dea and then I just stopped. Right. Wish incoming. Alhaitham. Are you there? It's blue.
Are you there?
Yep. Got a pole arm. Black tassel. Is that the HP one?
That
no,
is,
that's white tassel.
No, that is the HP one.
Oh, it is? Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Nice.
All right. What you get?
I'm gonna roll on the weapon banner because I want Kazuha's weapon. And let's go.
Nice save.
I was gonna say Kahi's weapon, but okay, it's blue. Raven bow. Okay, got the raven bow. A mission accomplished.
Yeah, I think I win. I have a pole arm.
That's what I wanted.
Pole
I actually wanted the raven bow, so it's fine. It's fine. Anyway, that wraps up the show for today. Anyways, thanks for listening. If you have the time, please leave us a comment and a review. We'd really appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening. Follow us on Twitter, once again, at Genshin Guys Pod. My Twitter is at JSideGaming, as well as my Twitch, twitch.tv/JSide. You can find Kahi on Twitter and YouTube and every other social media platform that he ever uses as Kahiao, KahiyaO. So, as always,
Ad Astra Abyssos.
Hoshi to Shienを目指せ.
Enjoy.